everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of Flickering Dreams. I'm Emma Sewell from Emma at the Movies, and I'm joined tonight by Andy Godfrey of Sorted Magazine and Connect Radio, and Scott Forbes from the Forms Film and TV Review on Facebook. We've been away for a couple of weeks due to busy schedules, but we've managed to squeeze in a few films. Right, so the first film we're going to talk about tonight is Five Nights at Freddy's, and it's based on the video game of the same name. Josh Hutcherson plays Mike, and Mike is desperate to find a job to look after his younger sister, but he doesn't have the best track record. He's running out of options, and his last hope is as a nighttime security guard at a children's themed pizza place that's been closed for years. What's the worst that could happen? Here's a clip.
All you have to do is keep your eyes on the monitor.
Welcome to Freddy Fazbear's, where fantasy and fun come to life.
Okay.
You must be new security guard.
Can I help you, officer?
Have you met them yet?
Met who?
Them.
So, Andy, you've seen this one, haven't you? We briefly exchanged details in the chat. What did you think of this one?
I thought this one was good, but it tried to tell too many stories. I wish it had a bit more focus. You've got the story going on, set in the pizza place with the, animated, demonic, possessed robots, whatever you want to call them. You've got the central character having nightmares about the day his brother was kidnapped. You've then got a niece, for whatever reason, engaging in a legal battle to try and get custody of the central character's child. Too much going on, too much happening. Focus, guys. And I was comparing this with the Nick Cage film, Willy's Wonderland. But that was just focus. That was just literally Nick Cage in an arcade, beating up demon-possessed animatronics and having fun doing it. This
10 out of 10, no notes.
Exactly. This one just told too many stories. This one just it was too involved. I was just thinking, I just want to be in the pizza place. I don't want to be in the lawyer's office talking about his niece trying to get custody of the daughter. It was just too much going on for my liking. I think if it focused, it would be very good. But as it was a bit all over the place.
Yeah, it had a lot more drama than I was expecting.
Right.
And obviously, Willy's Wonderland, you go in, it's pretty much, like you say, Nicolas Cage beating the crap out of stuff almost instantly. And we had a lot of backstory. And like you say, there was so many stories. You had Mike's story with his sister and the brother from years ago. And then the cop and her story. And
that's right. It's true,
everything. Everything just... It came together.
Threw it all in, but I didn't think it was focused enough. It didn't really do for me what it said on the tin,
Well, yeah, I was expecting, but I think I may have made a mistake in that I pre-gamed watching it by watching Willy's Wonderland and the Banana Splits movie. So
seen that for ages.
I mean, more animatronics going mad and killing people. It was fantastic. But yeah, so I pre-gamed with those two films, went to the cinema, and I was like, no. But I was really impressed to see there were so many people at our screening. Loads of people dressed up as characters who I'm assuming were obsessed with the game. But I can't remember what time I went, but it was quite an early-ish showing. And I rolled up in the car park and I'm like, why are all these people in my car park? What is going on? And it became very evident that they were all there to watch Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah.
So the screen that came out before mine must have been a full house. And the one I was in was easily 3/4 full.
Wow.
Which is unheard of. So it definitely appealed to people, but I was rather disappointed with the outcome, especially since it's been on the cards pretty much since the game came out. And they've been talking about doing it and never could. And somehow we've ended up with this film, which
Yeah, I mean, I
I
saw
mean,
it
I've
on
never played the game, so
I've never played the game either. I'm not a gamer, never have been, never will be. And I think that so maybe people who played the game got more out of it than maybe we did. But as a film, it just lost its focus. It lost its way. It was all over the place. Tell me one story. Don't tell me 3 or 4. You know, if you want to keep my attention.
yeah.
Yeah.
And another one that could easily have been made into like a limited series with
Yes,
each
I
episode
would have
being
thought so. Yeah.
the different strands of story. But
I mean, I don't know if any of you guys have seen Fall of the House of Usher, the TV series on Netflix based on a horror film, and basically that's working really well. I mean, it was a gothic horror story, Fall of the House of Usher, but they've turned it into a modern day TV series, and that's working well. I think this would have worked better as well, to be honest. Yeah.
so I sense where this is going score-wise, but what are you going to score this, Andy?
I'm sorry, I got to give it a 5. I was halfway there and halfway out. I mean, I've forgotten most of it already, to be honest. It's one of those films where you walk out, it doesn't linger long in the mind.
I think I'm going to agree with you on that one, just to save me some maths, and go 5 as well. So Five Nights at Freddy's gets an appropriate 5 out of 10. So that's a miss on this one. Definitely, if you fancy watching killer robots and someone beating the crap out of them, I would watch Willy's Wonderland.
Definitely. Yeah.
So yeah, maybe skip that one at the cinema. The next film we've got is called Scott, I wish you'd watch normal films. Tejas, is it?
Tejas.
There we go. So do you want to tell us about this one?
Sure. So have you ever wondered what it would be like if Bollywood did a take on Top Gun and G.I. Jane? Well, this is Tejas.
But it sounds like a must-see.
Here's a clip.
26/11 ने उसे उसका सब कुछ छीन लिया पर एक चीज नहीं छीन पाया उससे उसका देश
बैटलफील्ड में तुम्हारी जान जाने से ज्यादा खतरनाक तुम्हारी इज्जत लूट
सर मेरी इज्जत मेरे तन में नहीं मेरे मन में और उसे वहां से कोई नहीं लूट सकता टेररिज्म इस दुनिया में सबके लिए पर्सनल होना चाहिए
Okay. So for this one, it kind of is what I just said on the tin there. It takes our lead character, who's called Tejas Gill, and this is played by an actress called, now I might butcher this, I think it's Kangana Ranaut, or Rano, something like that. And she's our lead character. We follow her through different timelines. We see her in sort of present day to begin with, and she's going on this sort of rescue mission. But then we flash back to her in her younger days, looking to get into the Indian Air Force. And it goes back and forth with the training and then what she's like as an experienced pilot within the Air Force. And she's a bit of a rogue character. She is extremely ambitious and good at her job, but she doesn't always follow orders. We've seen plenty of movies with heroes like that. This film, it's very Bollywood in the sense that you get the romance angle within this. You get the songs in there, which are really good as well. I was very impressed with the music in this film. The actual action and drama is also really, really entertaining. It's built around one particular rescue mission of someone that Tejas is connected with from her past. And we see her and one of her colleagues take the lead, really, on this particular rescue mission that has quite a wide scope for danger. And there's points throughout this. As I said, you've got G.I. Jane with the woman in a man's world trying to make it. You've got Top Gun because she's an Air Force pilot and there's a lot of scenes with her flying jets. There's also a little bit of sort of Mission Impossible in here with some of the sort of gadgetry and just the invention of some of the missions that or some of the things she does on the mission that I thought was very impressive. As with a lot of Indian films, I hate criticizing it all the time, but there is some CGI and green screen issues, particularly in the air during those fighter jet scenes. It's frustrating when you're so close to seeing a movie like Top Gun Maverick recently and you see something with similar style scenes and you're like, this film's so amazing, but this just doesn't have the budget to compete with something like that. But I don't want to criticize the film too much for that, because it is a budgetary issue and they do their best with what they have there, and they really do make it as impressive as they can. I think where I would do a slight criticism would be with the ending, which I don't know if it's a good ending or a bad ending. It's a bittersweet ending.
Okay.
And it's one where I thought, do I like that? I'm not sure if it's how I would have ended it. And even with the choice they make, I probably would have added on like another 5 minutes just to emphasize an emotional kick at the end. But I'm just some guy rabbling on in the internet. I'm not a director or writer, so who am I to say? Get people paid a lot more money than I do to make those choices. But overall, yeah, I was thoroughly entertained by this. I don't know how widely available it will be to see in cinemas across the country, but if you do get the chance to see it, then I would highly recommend it.
Thank you.
Yeah, it sounds interesting. You definitely had me with your description at the beginning, so I'm gonna have to check out local cinemas for that. How are you going to score this one?
This one I am giving a 9 out of 10.
Not bad. So definitely one to catch then. Going to have to see where that is on. Next up, we've got the film Cat Person, which Cineworld has got an unlimited screening of. And this is about Margot, a college sophomore who goes out on a date with Robert. By text, he's flirty and fun, but Rob in real life doesn't quite match up.
Is that guy Robert again?
Listen, concession stand girl. Why don't you give me your number?
I think I really like him.
As promised.
I'm not saying I will have sex with him, but I think he would like it.
Listen to me. Call it a night.
Hey, do we want to do this? This was the worst life decision I've ever made.
Yeah, so Scott, I think you saw this one as well, didn't you?
I did see this one, yes.
And I want to hear your opinion first before I rattle on about it.
Well,
this could be fun.
So I went to see this one with my girlfriend on Sunday evening, and we were both very disappointed. This film, I don't know what I thought it was going to be and what I expected it to be. I kind of went in fairly open-minded about it. It's very difficult for me with this one because I thought there's some parts of it where it's quite clever and it does some things with the camera and with sort of dual people in the same scene, which I thought that's quite good and that could have a good impact. But I wasn't a fan of the way either of the main characters were written. I thought the performances were good, but again, I'm not sure how fully committed they were to these characters, and I think that comes down to the writing as well. I found that when we left the cinema, we were asking each other sort of what we thought, and we had similar opinions where we thought there seemed to be either things missing or things randomly inserted with no context that earlier on in the film for this being here. And so it was like, for example, a scene with a psychiatrist where like there was no mention of someone in psychiatry until this random point where we're just in the middle of a psychiatry session. And there's a few other scenes like that as well. We've got a random scene of our lead character singing a song with her mum in a very inappropriate way that was just very random.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of just random nonsense in this film where I was like, I don't know why this is here or what made the filmmaker made these choices. And then as we get into the latter stages, we're supposed to feel certain ways about these characters based on how they've been set up until now. And then we get towards the end of the film, and to some extent, I wasn't particularly clear that we know whose side we should really be on. Without, it's difficult to get into this sort of criticism without going into spoilers, but it felt to me like we were being cheated. So, unlike some films which can have a good twist ending, which can be justified, with this one, it felt like they were setting something up only to pull the rug out from under us in a way that it wasn't that clever. And it just made me think, what was the point in this whole movie if that's the way you're going to end it and not really leave us with anything in terms of good or bad or who's right or wrong? I think the film wants us to feel a certain way, but just certain things that it does makes me think it wasn't executed as well as it could have been. So, yeah, I'm a little confused and a little disappointed by it.
Yeah, I'd actually forgotten about that mother and daughter dance. And like you say, there was very little reason for it to be there other than to give her distance from Rob and to cause a, something for them to have to deal with when she got back, which could have been done in any way that wasn't traumatizing. It's... there were a lot of people in our screening for it, and what I will say is that I had a lot of what I would call trauma response laughing, and I was one of those people because watching it, and I'm like, oh, if you've dated, you know exactly what this is like, and I think probably a little less harsh on it than you, Scott. I agree with a lot of the things you said. There were bits where I'm like, that didn't really need to be there. But I could sort of see maybe why it had been added. But it's almost like they've done a poll on people who dated and gone, what are the terrible things that happen? And then, well, we'll put them all in. Like, we'll get them all in there somehow. And it will be very triggering for some people to watch this. I can definitely see that. And I was glad of those little points where you get a sort of little fantasy element that actually does break the tension a little bit, because it's getting to the point where you're like, I physically can't watch this. And then I think they did time that well, that you then get slightly taken out. And I think there is a clip in the trailer that sort of shows that, where it's like sort of out of the scene, you're interacting with the characters. So I appreciated those moments. One of the things that I really had a trouble with is that the main guy who plays Rob, Nicholas Braun, literally all I could see every time he was on the screen was Zach from Sky High, Dayglow Yellow. That's literally all I could see every time he popped up.
I thought you were going to say Greg from Succession.
No,
that's all I
I've
know
not
him
seen
from.
that. But yeah, that was really distracting to me. But yeah, it was difficult to watch in several different ways. It definitely felt like there was too much in it. You could have easily cut it out and actually concentrated on some of the other sections a little bit more. Yeah, I think... See, I hadn't rated this one when I came out of the cinema, and usually I've got an idea, and it's sort of growing on me a little bit here and there. But what score are you going to give this one, Scott?
So yeah, I was a little bit in between two, but over the past few days, yeah, I've been more sour on it than positive, so I'm going to go for a 5.
It's not much better than I thought you would say. I enjoyed it slightly more. I will give it a 7, just for the I think just purely for the trauma laughing. Like, if I can't laugh about it, it's going to be bad. But so I appreciated that. So it does even out to a 6. So that's just a miss on this one. Definitely not something you need to see at the cinema, I think. So anyone who fancies it, maybe catch it when it's streaming at some point. Yeah, or maybe not. Just the last film of our main ones today is one you've seen, Andy, and I'm going to try and get this right. It's Typist Artist Pirate King.
That is
and I've been saying it wrong all week.
Okay, so I've seen this twice. I need to declare an interest. The writer-director Carol Morley. I'm a big fan of hers. I loved Out of Blue and I love The Falling. She's also a friend. So I genuinely am not being biased when I say that Typist Artist Pirate King is my joint favourite film of the year so far. It really is. Here's a clip.
This stuff. That's my art. I used to be in the kitchen sink school of realism, but now I'm avant-garde and misunderstood. Yeah. You need to drive myself and my art to this gallery before the deadline.
Must be close by now.
It is 280 miles precisely. Sunderland.
You said it was local.
It is to me. Well, let's get a move on, heave-ho.
So, Typist Artist Pirate King are words that a lady called Audrey Amis had written in her passport as her occupation. Audrey was a student at the Royal... Honestly, Audrey was a student at the Royal School of Academy in the 50s. She had to drop out because she was spending more time in psychiatric institutions than she was studying. She had a real serious mental problem all her life that she was inflicted with. And the way that would often manifest itself is that she would walk up to strangers and see them through her eyes as somebody from her past. So there's a scene where she's in a cafe and there's a young couple on the next table and she walks up to them and says, "Hi guys, haven't seen you two since school." This was how one of her real part of her mental problem. The film is a fantasy based on her life. So we meet her at the age of 78, played by Monica Doolan, who is not 78, brilliantly played by Monica Doolan. She is living on her own, but every day she's getting visits from Kelly MacDonald, who is her care worker, a nurse. And one day she says to Kelly MacDonald, "Look, I'm an artist. I've got thousands of pieces of art." And she did leave behind literally thousands of pieces of art, many of them very abstract. She left behind 80 scrapbooks full of things. If she had a packet of sweets, she would stick the packet of sweet wrapper in a scrapbook. She left behind 80 scrapbooks. She left behind a diary in which she'd detailed almost every day of her life. Incredibly. Carol Morley got hold of all this material and said, let's pay tribute to this remarkable woman, because she really is quite remarkable. So one day, this is the fantasy, Kelly MacDonald comes in to visit Audrey, and Audrey says, "Look, I've seen in the paper there's an art exhibition and it's open to everybody. This could be my last chance to get my art displayed to the public. Will you drive me to this exhibition?" Now, they're in London. She was from Sunderland. They get in the car. They've been driving about 10, 15 minutes. And Kelly MacDonald says, "Well, how close are we to this art exhibition?" And Audrey says, 280 miles. She says, "What? You told me it was local." To which Audrey replies, "Well, Sunderland is local for me." And so they set up on this road trip. It's a good joke, actually. They set up on this road trip where they fall in with each other, they fall out with each other, they meet various characters along the way. There's a very dark scene where they actually visit one of the psychiatric hospitals that Audrey Amis was actually in. And it's now gone to rack and ruin. And she's wandering around and she's saying, "Well, the nurses used to bathe us in this room. They used to give me my tablets in this room," and so on. So it's a film about mental illness, but based on a real life person. And every now and again through the film, we just get stills of Audrey's artwork. As I say, some of it's quite abstract, but some of it, there's kids playing on a beach. There's people eating sweets at an ice cream stand, all sorts of things. My favourite piece of her artwork was this. These are all genuinely, we genuinely see her artwork. She did a painting which she entitled "Two Girls Talking." There's only one girl in the painting. And at the bottom, she'd written, "Sorry, didn't have time to draw the other girl." And she is a remarkable character. Monica Doolan's performance is terrific. Kelly MacDonald is absolutely brilliant as this care worker Sandra, who is driving her from London to Sunderland, and she's driving her care worker nuts. They stop off at a church, and she imagines that the lady running a yoga class in the church is her old school headmistress, and so on and so forth. It's a film to see with an audience because you fall in love with these two. You fall in love with Audrey and her mental problems, but you just realise that she's lovely. She's not being offensive. She's not being cruel to anybody. She just sees the best in everybody. And it really is a wonderful, wonderful. The script is brilliant. There's one line where she says, I'm sorry, I do so much talking about myself, but then I'm the one talking. And there was some great dialogue. I've seen it twice. I was at the premiere last week, London premiere. I was able to go to the party, met the composer, saw Carol, and was talking to the two leads. A lot of love has gone into the making of this film. It's just a joy. It's a sheer joy from start to finish. It really is. And you just fall in love with this character who is so nuts. I mean, right at the beginning of the film, we see her lying on her bed and she's writhing around like this and making a noise. And the neighbours come down and she says, will you stop controlling me by remote control? You're making me do things I don't want to do. You're just eccentricities like that. But the story comes together. There's a plot line involving a reunion with her sister. There are moments of fantasy, pure fantasy in this. Where Carol takes really quite a brave step to bring in things from Audrey's eyesight, what she's seeing, and that just aren't real. So I love this film. It's a road trip from London to Sunderland with a psychiatric mental head case who we grow to love, and her care worker who may as well go along for the ride. It is just terrific. Sorry, I've waffled on there, but I'm so excited about
that was a roller coaster.
I'm sorry.
I don't know what. I deliberately didn't look up what the film was before because you've been saying like lots of good things about it. I was like, I'll wait to see your description of it. I don't know what I was expecting, but it was not that.
Okay. No, I mean, I think it is a film to see with an audience if you can see it in the cinema. And right now, Carol and some of the cast and the composer are doing a tour around the country where they're doing special screenings with a Q&A. And there's going to be a special screening on November the 13th at the BFI, to which I've been invited to the green room. But there's going to be a special screening with Carol and the composer, and I think Monica Doolan's going to be there at the BFI on November the 13th. Do try and see. I would say if you can see it in the cinema, do. Some of the landscapes of our beautiful country are fabulous, the way Carol photographs them. I think Carol Morley is quite a unique filmmaker. If you've seen The Falling, if you've seen Out of Blue, and if you look at some of her very early stuff, she made a film, and the title escapes me at the moment. Sorry, Carol, where there's people in a hotel on the edge of a cliff, and all these different characters who are wanting to commit suicide for one reason or another. She's very brave in her choices, Carol, but she is a brilliant, brilliant filmmaker. And the music drops in this. There's a song by Boy George, which I'd never heard. I think it's called I'm the King of the World. And she puts this in, and her choice of songs and music is excellent. Seriously, I'll stop because I could talk about this all night. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
Wow, there we go.
My joint favourite film of the year.
Typist Artist Pirate King.
See
right,
it.
Okay.
Yeah, you won't regret it. It's lovely.
Okay, so those are the main ones. Obviously, it's been 2 weeks and we've seen a lot of different films, but none of us seem to manage to see the same films at all for various reasons. So we're going to do a quick fire, just update on the other things that we've seen. So Scott, I don't think you managed to get to any others. You tried to and then went to the wrong cinema.
Yeah, there's... Okay. Yeah, so hands up on this one. I had booked to see Killers of the Flower Moon on Saturday. In Aberdeen, we have 2 Cineworlds. I did not double check which one I booked. I was sure that I booked for the Union Square Cineworld. Turned up at Union Square, opened the app. Oh, Queen's Links. Oh.
All right.
And it was too late to go. I couldn't get to the beach in time for that. So, yeah, I just did not get around to seeing it and just through work and other life stuff, unfortunately, I haven't really been able to see as many films as I wanted to in the past couple of weeks, which is really unfortunate, but it's how it goes sometimes.
Have you got any you're going to try and see this weekend?
I was having a look at what there is. I might try and get around to Killers of the Flower Moon again if I can squeeze that in. I had a quick look at what's new. I think there's the one in Australia in the bar. I can't remember a lot of the names. I think it's the Royal something.
Royal Hotel.
Yeah, so I know that's coming
Hotel,
out.
Yeah.
What is there? There's How to Have Sex, which I looked at the trailer. I don't know if I fancy that one or not, but maybe. And then there's another one that's, I think, set in Scotland that I've forgotten the name of, but that looks like quite a good drama.
Are we talking Saltburn? No, what's it called?
No.
Oh, no, that's a couple of weeks' time, isn't it? We're still waiting.
Is it Dance First?
Might be, yes.
No.
That's the Samuel Beckett one.
I will tell you in just a second as I open up the Cineworld app. It's called Nobody Has to Know. And it stars... well, it's names I don't know, but it says Clovis Cornillac, Bully Lanners, Michelle Fairley. That name sounds familiar. Julian Glover. Yeah, I looked at the trailer earlier on, and it looks like it might be quite a nice sort of drama. It seems that there's someone that's... I think he might have been in some sort of accident, or he's forgetful for some reason, and the main lead woman is, I think, pretending to be his lover, or she might have been his lover. I'm not entirely sure exactly what's going on, but it looked quite interesting. So I might try and get to that one if I get a chance.
Well,
but yeah, I think those are the main
three
that are new this Friday.
Hopefully get to hear about those next week.
Fingers crossed.
Andy, what have you Andy, what have you managed to catch?
I saw It Lives Within, which I thought was an okay horror film. It tried to be different, which was refreshing. Quite built quite a nice creepy atmosphere. Let itself down in the end. Had a touch of the Babadook about it, I thought. So I saw that, and I would have given that 6 or 7 out of 10. I saw Anatomy of a Fall, which was shown as part of, I think, secret screening at Cineworld this week. I saw it last week at a press screening. This is a murder story. We got a family living in an alpine cottage. The dad is found dead, having fallen from the 3rd floor. Did his wife push him, or did he jump? And then we get a courtroom drama. It's too long. It's 2.5 hours long. It ran out of steam after 2 hours. And once we get the verdict of what actually happened, I was thinking, okay, finish now. Great. You told me the story, but it just rambled on and on. So it got 6 out of 10 for me. I did see Killers of the Flower Moon. And Scott, you got to see it. I honestly thought
I didn't realise you'd seen it. I have seen that too.
I've seen it, yes. So I thought, I don't know about you, Emma. I thought it was terrific.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I felt it was too long, but I wouldn't have cut anything out of it. There was literally
That's
nothing.
The problem. People keep saying it's too long, but what would you have cut out of that film? Because every scene was necessary to tell the story. So that was... Definitely. I don't think you could have cut anything out of it. You'd have missed something.
No,
I
genuinely... Like, we talked about it afterwards. I was like, I'd have cut 20 minutes out of it, but I don't know where I'd have found it from.
Exactly. Yeah. That was my thought coming out as well. Yeah, I just don't know what you could have changed. So, yeah, those are the ones that I've seen anyway. Did you see...
I'll just jump in a second there.
It Lives Within?
Sorry.
Oh,
sorry.
Yep.
Just asking Emma if she saw It Lives Within. Did you see that one? No, okay.
No, I was just going to jump in there with Andy bringing up Anatomy of a Fall. I did see that one last night at the secret screening. And yeah, I'm a little bit like you. I thought it was a really good film. I thought the lead actress was amazing. Really great performance.
Yeah.
From someone who's working in the legal profession, the way they handled the courtroom scenes was ridiculous. But in a dramatic sense, I understood what was going on. As you said, though, it was a bit too long, and towards the end, it was definitely dragging a little bit.
It's half an hour too long.
Definitely. I was surprised, like, secret screening as well at that time of night to show a 2.5 hour film.
2.5 hours.
And it was split sort of French and English as well. Like, there wasn't as many walkouts as I thought, but there were sort of gradual ones. Like, I think there was one person left at the beginning, and then every like half an hour or so, there would be like one or two people left.
Yeah. There was one walkout at mine, and that was me because I saw it last week at a press screening. So if you've got all these eyes on you as you walk, all these eyes, certificate comes up, and all these eyes are following you as you walk out. You know, what's wrong with him? Oh, I've seen it.
You uncultured swine.
Yeah, we do judge you.
Don't want to watch subtitles.
We had 2 walkouts, but they walked out for a very specific reason. So. Yeah, and I was actually surprised. I assumed as soon as the subtitles started, people would leave because that's normally what happens. But no, but we shouldn't be spoiling this just in case Bob wants to watch it. Like, we shouldn't be sharing our opinions. It's out on the 10th.
We can review it.
Getting ahead of ourselves.
By which time everybody would have seen Typist Artist Pirate King. Because you've got to see
Fingers crossed. Hopefully.
It's not
I'll try.
in Aberdeen, I don't know when I'll see it.
Look for a screening.
So apart from Killers of the Flower Moon, I saw Old Dads, which was streaming. It's awful. It's so bad. It's like, it's basically like all of those sorts of films, but every other film is better. There's one where Kevin Hart is a single dad. That one, great. There's, what are the Christmas ones? Are they Christmas ones? Daddy's Home? Is it?
Yeah, with Mark Wahlberg and
them. Yes, though, yeah, better. But this was just awful. Truly awful. Like 2 out of 10. And I'm being generous, and that's only because of the other actors in it, not the main guy. So yeah, don't watch that, even though it's streaming and it's free if you have a subscription. And my other one was Trolls Band Together.
Yeah.
So the third Trolls film, amazing. I love them. They can do no wrong. It's glorious. Especially just all the boy band jokes, and admittedly, you do see a lot of them in the trailer, and it still amused me watching it again at the cinema. It's just really uplifting. So, that's at least like an 8, maybe a 9 out of 10. Absolutely see that.
Okay.
Well, you understand it if you haven't seen the second one.
Yeah, I was
pretty
going to
much.
ask the same similar question, actually, Scott.
Yeah, like
they're individual stories in their own right. They're not.
You should also watch the second one, Scott. You should have them on repeat. You should own them on DVD. Okay, but yeah, no, you can watch them all individually. I don't think it's essential. Like, there are some bits that probably link together, but you're just having fun. You don't need to know. And the other one I saw streaming on Paramount Plus was Slaughterhouse, which is spoofy type horror, basically set in a sorority house, and a girl wants to become popular, and the way to do that is to have a cute pet, and by chance happening she gets a sloth, and it makes her the biggest thing, but this sloth needs medication for whatever reason, and she doesn't give it the medication, and it goes nuts. And it murders everyone, and it can use social media. So highly recommend. 10 out of 10. Would watch on repeat. Would not get a sloth, but amazing. It's like quality crap.
My word.
Honestly, it is so much nonsense. You'd watch that, Zombievers, and
did you say it's on
make a great
Paramount Plus?
marathon. It is, yes.
Okay, right. I've got Paramount Plus, so I'll have to have a look.
I'm pretty good at it because my subscription will lapse this month, and I was like, I don't need it. And then that popped up. I was like, oh my God, I need to watch this before it goes. But so that was my watching. So definitely some ones we talked about tonight that I'm going to try and catch, which hopefully they're playing around Bristol.
I know that Typist Artist Pirate King has been shown at the Watershed, Emma. So I love The Watershed. The Watershed is fantastic cinema.
I love The Watershed. I don't love the parking
incredible.
situation.
Yeah, the parking's difficult, but the cinema, fantastic. Oh, that'd be a great place to see it. Yeah.
I will try. I will try. But so that's us for this week. Yeah. Do I need to put a paid promotion underneath your video every time? No. Okay.
I'll just have a. She always gives me a hug when she sees me, so I'll have a hug next week when I see her.
Okay, great. Well, that's good. So hopefully next week Bob will be back from his many gallivanting trips, showing off with his pictures all around the world. And yeah, so hopefully back on track next week with some good films coming out. So thanks very much, guys. And we'll see you all next week for another podcast.
Thank you so much for listening or watching Flickering Dreams. You can find the video version on YouTube and the audio version on all major podcast platforms. And don't forget to subscribe so you can get each of the weekly episodes as they are released. We'll see you at the movies.